this is the conversation that I think isn't talked about enough as to why Palestine is under attack. There's a whole, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's not a religious war. Oh, it's a conflict of two people. No, dude, there's people who control the whole Zionist movement who want to just prove that, astaghfirullah, like, God is wrong. And I just learned about this recently, about the red cow. Apparently, they don't ever believe there was a yellow cow. They believed it was red. Like, literally everything we believe, they go, nope, it's not that. I'll show you.
Yeah.
Something else.
You know, it makes sense how, like, people who are not religious, they will look at something like that and they'll read how that ritual is, and they'd be like, yo, man, religious people are crazy. Like, I can totally see that logic. Because, like, if you think about the details of that ritual, what in the hell is all that for?
So today's conversation is going to be about the red cow. Do you guys know about the red cow?
HEIFER.
I know about the yellow cow.
Yeah, so us Muslims, we believe in Surah Al-Baqarah, when those people asked what type of cow should we slaughter. They kept asking questions. Instead of making it easy on themselves and just going to slaughter a cow, they're like, no, we want more details. So it ended up being a yellow cow with no blemishes, completely clear, and a couple other things, right? And they ended up slaughtering it. But apparently a specific sect of, it's not even in the Torah, but a specific sect of the Jews, it's like a, I'm not educated. I'm not obviously not a rabbi, but what I've heard of it is like it's this thing that's taught for only specific people, right? And in specific ages too. It has to be over like age of 40 apparently, and all that stuff. Where they actually believe the cow is supposed to be red, not yellow, right? And they believe that one day, a day will come where Masjid al-Aqsa will collapse. This is actually the whole one of the probably the main reasons why the war in Palestine is happening right now. Masjid al-Aqsa will collapse. They'll build a third temple in replacement of it, and then they sacrifice this red cow, and that the Messiah will actually be the one to come sacrifice it for them. Messiah being the Dajjal, which is what we believe in, or for Christians, the Antichrist. And the reason why we're talking about this right now on April 1st, 2024, is because apparently they're planning to do it on Eid, which is in the next 10 days. How are they going to collapse Al-Aqsa and build a whole new temple and so on and so forth in 10 days? God knows, and it's probably a bunch of nonsense because these groups of people tend to lie a lot and they tend to spread a bunch of false narratives. But it's a real thing, and they're planning on doing it. And so I have this video talking about, is the red cow linked to Dajjal's arrival? It's 4 minutes long. And I thought we would have a reaction on it. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's run it.
I'm down.
لخرافة دينية مقيتة مصممة للعدوان على مشاعر أمة كاملة.
During a speech commemorating the 100th day of the Gaza conflict, Hamas spokesperson Abu Ubaidah made a surprising yet revealing statement that garnered little attention. Among the reasons given for the October 7th massacre in Israel, he mentioned Zionists bringing red cows to the Holy Land. The Al-Aqsa Mosque holds immense religious significance for Muslims worldwide, and any perceived violation of its sanctity would undoubtedly provoke strong reactions. In their effort to rebuild the temple, devoted believers refer to the Book of Numbers, chapter 19. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is a requirement of the law that the Lord has commanded. Tell the Israelites to bring you a red heifer without defect or blemish, and that has never been under a yoke. Give it to Eleazar the priest. It is to be taken outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence. Then Eleazar the priest is to take some of its blood on his finger and sprinkle it 7 times toward the front of the tent of meeting. While he watches, the heifer is to be burned, its hide, flesh, blood, and intestines. The priest is to take some cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet wool and throw them onto the burning heifer. After that, the priest must wash his clothes and bathe himself with water. He may then come into the camp, but he will be ceremonially unclean till evening. The man who burns it must also wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he too will be unclean till evening. A man who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and put them in a ceremonially clean place outside the camp. They are to be kept by the Israelite community for use in the water of cleansing. It is for purification from sin." These cows were destined to be burned on a specific piece of land overlooking the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem. Ubaidah emphasized that the ritual must be conducted facing the exact location where the historic Second Temple once stood, until its destruction by the Romans in 70 AD. Since the time of Moses, only 9 such sacrifices have been performed. According to the rabbis, when the cows are sacrificed, they will enter the stage of Dajjal, or their awaited Messiah. Muslims will see through their deception and lies and won't be manipulated. In Islam, the Dajjal will claim to be the Messiah and perform miraculous feats to deceive people into following him. However, his true nature as a false prophet will be revealed to believers through various signs and warnings provided by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The emergence of the Dajjal is seen as a significant event signaling the end times and the coming of Judgment Day in Islam. Muslims are advised to seek refuge in Allah and remain steadfast in their faith to protect themselves from the deception of the Dajjal. The red cows are 5 red Angus heifers brought in from Texas in September 2022, facilitated by a collaborative effort between a Christian ministry named Bonai Israel and the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. Since last year, one of them has been disqualified, leaving 4 remaining. For some Jews and Christians, these animals hold significance as they are believed to play a crucial role in the reconstruction of the ancient Jewish temple in Jerusalem and in heralding the arrival of the Messiah. They believe that only with that offering and the destruction of Al-Aqsa Mosque can the temple rise again. Sacrificing red heifers at the Al-Aqsa Mosque would deeply offend Muslims. The mosque is one of the holiest sites in Islam, and any non-Islamic rituals or practices conducted within its premises would be seen as a desecration of the sacred space.
Are you sick of haram content popping up on...
Are you sick of haram content popping up? All right. Thoughts?
I never knew that Jews prayed like that.
Like what, like this?
Yeah. Their
Yeah.
nose is just rubbing everywhere.
Their nose is just rubbing everywhere. Well, okay, so
That's interesting.
couple things. So funny enough, actually, ever since I was young, I was taught like in the tahiyyat, like before I say Assalamu alaikum, I always say Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhab al-qabr wa adhab jahannam wa a'udhu bika min al-masih ad-dajjal. Right, which basically translates, "Oh Allah, I seek refuge from you from the punishment of the grave and the punishment of hellfire, and I seek refuge from you from the Antichrist, Dajjal." Because that whole concept trips me out. Because like I know, like we sit here and talk about like things that, oh yeah, if I experienced it, it would be so obvious. I'm gonna obviously know this is not true, right? But are you really? Like in the moment, you know, like a lot of us, like I've had conversations with people who are like, oh, it's easy to say La ilaha illallah in the moment of death. But like when it actually hits you, like how are you actually going to react? Like because the Dajjal's going to come with godly powers. I mean, he'll come, he'll be able to resurrect the dead. He'll be able to cure the sick. He'll be able to do a lot of things that humans can't. And so I think that's an interesting concept. But for them to believe that they're going to be able to do it in the next 10 days is a kind of a crazy philosophy.
Are they?
I mean, no, they have to take down Al-Aqsa. So they have to literally demolish Al-Aqsa.
But if they do, that's immediate war.
I mean, it already is war. But
No. I think that like all the Muslims.
I feel like it should definitely get to like the next level, but it's one of those things where I guess you can hope and pray for that it would. But the way the Muslim leaders around the world are looking right now, I'm not sure anything would change.
Yeah. It's weak.
They would just go out and give statements.
Yeah, if you do that again,
Yeah.
we're gonna come.
if you do it again,
It's like,
hey, listen, if you do it again, you're gonna have a problem.
It's like in shambles. You're like, dude, if you do it one more time, I swear.
Kick one more rock.
Rub your nose on
The
one
thing
rock.
is, like, we all know what's actually going to happen, which this is so interesting to me because this is the conversation that I think isn't talked about enough as to why Palestine is under attack. Mm-hmm. There's a whole, like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's not a religious war. Oh, it's a conflict of two people. No, dude, there's people who control the whole Zionist movement who want to just prove that, astaghfirullah, like, God is wrong. Like, straight up, their whole thing is like, whatever the Quran says, nope, we're going to show you it's not true. Right? And it's nuts because there's people out there who genuinely wake up every day and that's their main goal. They just want to, destruct to a point where they can prove that their pathway is right. And subhanAllah, in the Quran it even says they've been like this from thousands of years ago. From Sayyidina Musa, so like Moses' time, where he literally split. I mean, we were talking about this with my wife the other day. He literally, imagine in front of your eyes, man, like you see the ocean split in half.
Yeah.
And then you decide, nah, that's not enough for me. I'm going to, go worship my own thing, It's like they've defied they've defied Allah's teachings from day one. Like the ego is so driven by just proving this whole thing wrong. And I just learned about this recently, about the red cow. Apparently, they don't ever believe there was a yellow cow. They believed it was red. Like literally everything we believe, they go, nope, it's not that. I'll show you.
Yeah.
It's something else.
Yeah.
100%. You know what I think is really interesting that I wanted to mention was like when he was describing the details of the ritual itself.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense how like people who are not religious, they will look at something like that and they'll read how that ritual is, and they'll be like, yo, man, religious people are crazy. Like, I can totally see that logic. Because like if you think about the details of that ritual, what in the hell is all that for? It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
You
got to purify, and then the water that...
Right, the blood and the intestines and this and that.
And the ashes are you put into water in order for you to then cleanse yourself of sins.
Right. It's. I mean, here's the thing. As Muslims, we believe that some of the prophets back in the day they've done interesting rituals as well. Yeah. Maybe not to that.
Well, there was no
detail.
rituals. It was just like a simple movement.
No, but like the classic one is like Sayyidina Ibrahim having to sacrifice his own son because he saw it in a dream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could look at that and you could be like, yo, these people are crazy. You know what I mean? And so I totally see the logic behind why it appears crazy. And if I'm 100% honest, this was just a random tangent I wanted to throw out. This had nothing to do with the whole conversation.
Cool.
Well, that's great.
That's great.
What are your thoughts on it?
We're crazy. What's up?
No, but like to add on what BB said, I think that there is a lot that's going on right now, and we all need reasons. Mm-hmm. There's always a reason behind everything. So like, yeah, October 7th happened. The IDF, which has, the Mossad, has all these other like amazing intelligence, right? They let a couple people, not even a couple people, who are these people? Hamas. They let them go through to their country and start wreaking havoc and so on, right? You don't think that they knew that? You know what I'm saying? You don't think that they allowed all this stuff, that they didn't plan all this stuff too? That's like the little conspiracy theorist in me is like, dude, these people are way too smart to fool them. They're just not going to be like, you know what I'm saying? They got you. They know everything about us. There's also talking about that. There's this whole thing of like the HEIFER, right? It's coming from Texas. Like, personally, I would think that like if it was in the Torah or if it was in the whatever they were talking about, I would probably think that the one that has no blemishes and stuff like that, like the cow, would probably come out from like a in Israel or something like that. I wouldn't think of it to be like
Texas,
baby.
Manufactured in the USA.
Yeah, we're number one. Bring back the jaw.
What the heck?
I wouldn't think that.
Yeah, that was such a funny detail for me as well, because it's like there's no way that you legit thought like imagine the research you would have to do to have people on every cow farm in every part of the world just to find these red cows. Like there's no way in hell you set that up.
Or like we're gonna keep an eye on this farm right
like
here.
It doesn't make sense.
His cows.
But yeah, it makes sense that like if it is going to be a holy cow,
legit,
then it's going to come from your holy land,